Well, hello guys, it's me, Che, and I am back at it for another video for you. Now this is my first story time video, so I'm kind of getting to learn things, see how this whole story time thing works. So I figured one of the craziest stories of my life was when I went to jail. And this was a one and only time, mind you. So, if you'd like to know how I ended up in jail and how I fully think, I'm not blaming God for this, but this is why I have my reasons for believing in that higher power. And my higher power I call God, Jesus Christ. So, if you want to hear this crazy story, just stay tuned because it's coming up. I do the worst what's it called? Tongue pops. I can never get it that loud because it's coming up right now. There we go. That was better. See y'all in a second. Okay, so to make this video a little bit shorter than my others, I figured a story time would be shorter. I'm not doing any makeup. I already have it all done. If you guys do like this makeup today, I'm trying to lean in without knocking my phone over. Why not just bring my phone to me? If you guys do like this look, I did an all pink look with a champagne sparkle eye and just a nude lip with a champagne gloss. If you guys do like this look, let me know. I can recreate it any day during the week. Okay, so let's get on with it. So, back in 2017, this is when me and Matt, my fiance that just passed away, six and a half months ago, we had been living, in Kensington, using heroin, Xanax, everything. And my car had gotten impounded. My car got impounded. I got pulled over for a tail light. Headlight. My left headlight was out. As I was being pulled over, I'm like, what, oh my God, I'm so done. My license was suspended, no registration, no insurance. And I cruised for 8 months like that, okay? Before even getting caught. Suggestion, just don't ever do that, okay? But when your mind isn't thinking right and you're on these drugs, that's just what you do. The only thought in your mind is getting high. That's all you can think about. So you don't care about the consequences because it may or may not happen to you. Well, I might or might not get caught, but I'm 100% sick. So I'm going to try and fix it. That's the way that's the way we view things. So once my car got impounded, I called the only person that I knew, that would help me out. And I consider him my uncle. And I'm just going to stick with a first name basis. His name is Rob. I love you, Rob. You literally saved my life that day. So me and Matt, once my car got impounded, the tow truck starts coming around, and mind you, this is on Frankfurt Ave in Kensington, underneath where the L is. So embarrassing. I looked at the cop and I'm like, I'm homeless. This is where we sleep. Look in my back seat. Please don't take my car from me, please. They don't care. Those Kensington cops, they know you're an addict. They don't care, which is kind of sad because all they did was put 2 more people on the street. And that's why we ended up living under the Emerald Street Bridge, which the Emerald Street Bridge was known for dope and heroin. And then the Frankfurt Street Bridge was known for where all the crack was. And that's where all those homeless people would sleep. So, but this was in 2017. I don't know how things are. I do plan on making a video, though, on Matt's 1-year passing of me going out there and going under the bridge, just interviewing people, seeing what the scene is still like, seeing how things are, better, worse. And I want to take over some hot food and some goods for all the people. But anyway, so I called Rob a few days after sleeping under this bridge, and God bless Matt's soul, because I mean, sleeping under there, we hadn't been there that long. Like, we didn't have a mattress. Like, these people have mattresses, like desk furniture next to them. Like, they have everything. They got it like hooked up over there, or a tent to sleep in. Me and Matt had nothing. He had a big black leather jacket, which I can't even look at to this day. And when I smell it, it takes me right back to those streets. Like, my mind goes right back. It's crazy how smell works like that. But yeah, so I called Rob, the only guy I really know, through family, and he was the only person willing to help me. Not my mom, not my dad, nobody. So after about 4 or 5 days, and this is what I meant when God bless Matt's soul, because he was the one that would sit, you know, leaning with his head against the concrete like this, you know, sitting straight up with his legs straight out in front of him, and I would lay with my head on his lap at night, and he would keep his arms over me with the leather jacket, and he would, you know, help to keep me warm with our body heat, because we were homeless during the winter, which, I mean, we were protected from rain because we were under a bridge, but that, I can still remember the bone-chilling nights of how cold it was out there, and how, like, we really chose to be out there for a bag with powder. Like, it drives me crazy to this day thinking about it. But anyway, Rob helped me get my car back. So about a week goes by. Me and Matt would always go out to Kensington. We would, you know, we knew where to go to get the stuff, whatever. We knew about like 8 different sets in a 6-block, no, not even that, in like a 3-block radius. Okay, like Kensington is, people actually, one lady that was there told me she traveled up from Texas and they were there to buy $5 grand worth of heroin and go back home. This is what Kensington is like. It's known for like the purest heroin. So let me go to the next roll. Hold on. So I finally get my car back. And instead of me and Matt driving around out there, because Rob, what we did when we went to go get my car back, we got insurance and he put it under his name. But then he said after that month, he's not paying it. But I had an insurance card and he paid my $100 restoration fee. So I was able to get the car out of the lot legally, but I still, in 30 days, I was going to be illegal again, you know? So me and Matt were like, okay, we're going to go out there to get our stuff at night. And then we would always drive back to Jersey because it's only a 30-minute ride. It's no big deal. And we would go to the local Walmart. We would either go to the one near me or the one near him. And there's a side on the Walmart where we used to park, and there would be the same 4 cars every night next to us. One was like an older couple with like cats all in their van. I felt terrible for the cats. And then like it would be the same other 2 couples parked. And that's where we knew the people that we were all homeless. We slept in our cars on the side of Walmart. So I finally, I had had enough of this lifestyle for so long. Like we had used, I had been taking perks since I was 19, but this is when I was 28 and I finally tried heroin, you know, and I only used it for about a year, but I was in Kensington using Kensington heroin, like just fentanyl basically. So, but I always had a high tolerance. It's so weird. I have a very high tolerance for stuff. Thank God, looking back. So, I remember one night, Matt he fell asleep in the back of my car. Usually this is why we had such a close relationship, and I don't want to get emotional, but it was so hard losing him this past September because you know, we got clean together, but those memories of him protecting me and keeping me warm and, you know, us sleeping literally connected in my car in the back seat, because I have a regular car. It's not an SUV. You know, we would literally be, we were connected literally at the hip at all times. and it felt like, half my soul got ripped out when he passed away. But I remember looking at him as he fell asleep, and I remember like being like, God, I don't want this lifestyle. I don't want to live like this anymore. And I said, if you're real and you care about me and you can see me down here homeless in my car, I said, please, I will do anything. I don't want this demonic, heroin, bad-spirited nature in my car anymore. I want to get rid of it all. I will do anything. Just please help me. Show me you're real. And this was around midnight. Okay, so I wake up to and I look at the time on my clock in the car, and it said 4:01. So it was only 4:01 a.m. And I wake up to that loud knock and flashlights looking in my car. And I'm like, whispering as I'm acting like I'm still sleeping. I'm like, meh. I'm like, it's the cops, like, what the it's the cops, And then he's like, well, shit we can do now, so just get up, So we got up, and I rolled down the window, I remember, in the back, and I was like, yeah, can I help you? I was like, am I not allowed to park here and sleep? Just playing innocent, stupid. But he was like, no, it's not that. He said, we ran your tags, and you actually have a warrant out for your arrest. It says you have a failure to appear, which, since I was homeless, I wasn't getting my mail. So I had a court date that I didn't go to. So I missed court, so they put a warrant out for me. So then, of course, they ask for the man's ID. They run Matt's. Matt had 3 warrants out of 3 different towns. So we got lucky. I do have to say, we got lucky 8 months driving around without getting in trouble. But I remember after saying my prayer, when I went to lay down with Matt in the back, I was laying there, and I went I opened my eyes, and I was like, well, almost anything, God. I was like, just please don't put me in jail. That's the one thing I can't do. I cannot do jail. I'm not made for jail. I'm just not made for jail. I was like, please, I'll do anything else. I will do community service. I will do anything to get out of this situation. Just PS, don't put me in jail, and in Jesus' name I pray, amen. And then I went to bed. I get the knock, 4:01 on my window, flashlights, telling me I have a warrant, Matt has 3. So they ask us to step out of the car. They search my vehicle. They don't find anything, so I don't get any other charges. That's because, us girls, we can come in handy with hiding things in certain places. TMI. But they arrested us both, and they took us, and this was in Washington Township. And Matt's cousin was even a township cop. And we still both got taken in to the local police station. So, needless to say, we both got arrested. We're in the police station, and if you've never been arrested, it feels like they treat you like a dog. They literally have your leg, connected to the bench, and your hands connected. Where do you think I'm gonna go? Through the door that you have to buzz your ticket to get through? They treat you like shit. And you know what? I was an addict, so they look at me like a typical addict would, And they had called, what they do is they call the town where, your warrant is out of. So Matt had 3, I'm not going to name the 3 districts, but they were all, pretty local. And he got so lucky. Every single one of them ROR'd him, which just means it's something on release. Reschedule or release, I forget, but they just give you a new court date. Basically, when you get ROR'd, you're released, you're good to go, and then they hand you a paper with a new court date on it. And especially, when it's 4:30 in the morning at this time, or 5 in the morning, by the time we made it back to the police station, anytime between 1 and 5 in the morning, cops don't feel like driving you all the way to another township, you know what I mean? So Matt was like, all right, awesome. He's like, and they were like, well, wait, we just got to finish up Chaley's. They were like, she shouldn't take long, she should be done in like 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh, thank God, like, thank you, God. And then, I'll never forget the words. The officer comes back out and he said, Chaley, you're not going to believe this, but I tried. I tried for you because I don't want to drive right now at 4:50 a.m., He said, but they want you. And I was like, what? And he was like, Evesham, it was Evesham Township, which if anyone knows Evesham in New Jersey, they know how they roll. I missed court, and they want to put an innocent person that missed court in jail. Well, I wasn't innocent. I was doing bad things at the time. But I wasn't like robbing people and stuff. You know what I mean? I was harming myself rather than anyone else. But, and then I was like, are you kidding me? And then they were like, yeah. They were like, but wait right here because the lieutenant is on the phone with them arguing. Because at the time, I was 2.5 months pregnant. I had just found out. That's a little TMI, but I had found out that I had gotten pregnant and I didn't even know. You don't even know when you're using, me and Matt were living in a car. Like, there's nothing else to do but that. You know what I mean? So it's like, it was just a really hard experience. Maybe that'll be for another time. But, so he said the lieutenant is on the phone with Evesham right now. He said, just give me a minute. He said, we're going to try to talk to them and, let them know that you're pregnant, and it's 4:50 a.m. in the morning, like, and all you did was miss court. Like, this is ridiculous. So anyway, the lieutenant comes down and he said, I'm so sorry, Miss McFall. He said, but we got to take you. So the other cop, his eyes were like, are you kidding me? And then they actually told me on the drive to the middle point where the Evesham picks me up from Township, there's a middle point in Belmar where they like pick you up. That's a town or city, whatever, in New Jersey. And it's the meeting local spot where like, they pick you up if you have to go to another district or another township where they want you. So I got taken to the meeting point and the cop in the car actually turned around and said, if I would have known all this would have happened tonight, he said, I would have never messed with you. He said, I'm sorry. And just that, like, it was really nice. Like, it was really, really nice, and it meant a lot to me, but it's not changing my outcome. I'm still going to jail. So I get to the jail with the Evesham officer. They took me to Burlington County, and the lady there said, we can't accept her. She's pregnant, and she is coming off of heroin and benzos, which was Xanax. She either needs to go to a hospital, get evaluated, and then you can bring her back if she clears, or you can ROR her and just give her another court date. So the officer literally turned and looked at me and he's like, ugh, he's like, let's go. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I literally had like a cop fighting for me, and then I have a jail deny me due to my circumstances, but I have to get cleared through a hospital. And the cop chose to take me to a hospital like 20 minutes away to get evaluated. It took over an hour. And then as he's driving, he's mumbling under his breath. And he's like, this is just ridiculous. The things we got to do. They should just take you. I don't understand. You're just pregnant. Millions of women are pregnant. Like, and I can hear this. I said, sir, I didn't break the law, like I missed court, and that's all I did, I promise. I said, you can tell, on the thing, on your paperwork. And he was like, do you have to go to court? And I was like, well, yeah, but I didn't know I had court that day. I'm homeless. And then he was like, so you messed up. So you mess up, you do the crime, you do the time. And then he just started driving again. He was like bald and all jacked up, like one of those juice head. He was a nasty one. He was a nasty, nasty one. So anyway, he takes me to the hospital and I get cleared. So they take me back to Burlington County. He does. And the lady is like kind of shocked that like I'm back. You know what I mean? And come to find out, Burlington County doesn't house females anymore. It is only a male jail. So at this point, the lady's like, okay, she's like, you need to go back until she walks me to like a back waiting room cell where there's like 8 girls in there of all different ages. I don't know what they're there for. There's one kicking the door, literally like, let me the out, let me the out. And then there's a girl in the back like rocking like on a chair, you know, and then there's one in the corner like, you know, like it's, I felt like I was in a nut house. Like I felt like I did not belong there. Like I really felt like I didn't belong there. So with Burlington County at 6 a.m. every single morning, which, mind you, since I got there after 6 a.m. because it took over an hour at the hospital, I had to stay in that waiting cell until 6 a.m. the next morning, where there are no mattresses. It's just a big open room because they don't house females anymore. So they keep them, all the females, in one room until 6 a.m. every morning, and then they transport them. And you want to know where they transport you to? You would think somewhere a little closer. Nay, nay. They transport you all the way to Atlantic County Jail, which is in Atlantic City. And that's because it's a private-owned jail. Never knew that, because when I was in there, I was like, this is so dirty and disgusting. And when I got out and had talked to people, they said that's because it's a privately owned jail. They don't have to keep up to certain standards like other jails. And you know, go figure, that's where I would end up pregnant. And I didn't get to, you know, wear my orange jumpsuit. I stand out because I'm pregnant. So they put me in an all yellow outfit. So needless to say, coming off of heroin and benzos, I was in there for 5 days in 24-hour lockdown, which is your first 7 days. That's where you stay in Atlantic County. And they open your door for 1 hour. 1 hour in a full 24-hour period that you are allowed to come out, talk with people, and then you're back in there. Metal door, slam shut, you're done. You get 1 hour, which I was so sick. I was on all fours, shaking, and just violently throwing up. I had nothing left in me. I was walking hunched over. I had the chills. I was shaking. And this is when I had a knock on the door at 12 noon. And they said, Miss McFall. And I was like, yeah, you know, like right here. I could barely move. I never knew how bad a benzo or a Xanax withdrawal was, let alone being pregnant, coming off of benzos and fentanyl. I was in a living hell. But this lady at Atlantic County somehow placed me an hour away at a privately owned jail, which is the first jail ever at this time in 2017 that offered a methadone program to help people on drugs get clean. Well, clean on methadone. And I was pregnant, so I had to take the methadone because if not, it's dangerous to the fetus. I didn't know what I was going to do yet. I was scared and I didn't know what I was going to do. So I took the methadone, and then she would come at noon every day to get me. Only I've been on methadone now for about 3.5 years, and my milligrams is 100. I never wanted to go above it. I just wanted to keep it as low as I could. You know, there are people on 280 milligrams, and you see them like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to live a normal lifestyle, be awake every day, have a job, be with my son. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to look like that. I don't want to be that person. So I always kept my milligram at that point. But when in the jail, they gave me 15 milligrams. 15. Coming off of all this stuff that was in my system and pregnant. And they would only up me 5 milligrams a day. So basically, I went through torture for the first 5 days. So the 5th day comes around and it gets to be like 3:30 in the morning. It's pitch black, and then I hear a, "Miss McFall, get your shit. It's time for you to go." And I'm like, what? Like, what? And I had video court that morning, but where the judge had rescheduled me, but I didn't know that they let you go in the middle of the night, and I'm in Atlantic City with no car. Atlantic City from Pittman is 45 minutes to 1 hour away driving. Like, I didn't know what to do. So all these people, I see them there that are getting released at the same time as me, and like a mom came and got them, or a dad came and got them. And that made me really sad, because it was my first time in jail. I thought, like, my first time getting in trouble, you know, and I was pregnant. I might have a little help, but no. So all the people that had their parents come and get them, they gave me their bus tickets. So I was sitting alone at a dark bus ramp for an hour and a half maybe, until the next bus came. It was like 4:20 when the next bus came, a.m. So I asked the bus driver, I'm like, how do I get back to Pittman area, like Glassboro, Rowan University? I said, I can walk anywhere from there. He's like, that's like a 13-lane bus ticket, or a 13 pass, or whatever. Like, each bus ticket, you only get like a 3-point for this drive. So I needed more tickets. So thank God all those people gave me their extra tickets. So I was also able to make it to my home in Pittman. I ended up getting dropped off on Broadway in Pittman and just walked to my home. But after that, I had about like a week of torture, because I called Matt. All I wanted to do was talk to Matt. I called Matt, and he had told me that he had finally gathered up all the money, and he was coming to bail me out on the first night, or the second morning, basically. But he went to Burlington County. Then they had told him, oh no, she got moved. She's in Atlantic County. So he said he started to take that long drive which he didn't have a license at all. He gets pulled over. Little do I know, my car's impounded. My car got impounded. And I was in Atlantic City trying to figure out how to get home. And now I know when I get home with my strict ass parents, I'm going to have to leave. And let me tell you, when I got home, that bed, when I sat on it, it felt like a cloud. I had bruises on my knees and on both my hips, because I was so skinny at this time from being on, substances. And you lay on a mat this thin that's on a metal bunk bed. Like, that's all it was. And I remember those bruises, they hurt so bad, and that bed felt so good. And my dad made me leave. He still made me leave the night I got home from jail, pregnant, with nowhere to go. So who do I call? The guy I call my uncle, Rob. So Rob drove to a diner. We met at a middle point, and my dad dropped me off and gave me $20. And he said, use this for gas so you can stay warm. That is one line that I will never forget for the rest of my life. Here, take this 20, as you're pregnant and you're going to, you don't have a car right now until I get it out of the impound lot, which Rob had to do for a second time. Only thank God this one was in New Jersey. So it wasn't like as expensive. But I owe that guy, I owe Rob so much. I owe him my life with how much he did for me and Matt during this time. Sorry for the beeping on the alarm. My microwave keeps going off because I have hot food in there. But yeah, so my dad really made me leave. As I finally laid my head down and I was like, can I just stay? And like, I'll leave in the morning before Cody sees me, He's like, no, like, get up, you gotta go. And I was so malnourished and skinny. I remember looking in the mirror, I could see my ribs. I had no energy. I could barely walk to the car. I remember getting in his Jeep and like shutting the door, and I was just like, because I didn't eat anything in the jail. I couldn't eat it. I couldn't eat it. It looked like a horse's dick sausage that had spicy chunks of jalapeno in it with a side of rice. Like, especially when you're pregnant. Are you kidding me? Like, get that penis looking food away from me, basically. And the smell. Oh my God. And if you were thirsty, oh well. That doesn't matter if you're thirsty in jail. You got to go over to the toilet, the little metal toilet where there's a little metal sink next to it. Push that little metal button down and try to squeeze your mouth under there and slurp up any probably sewage water that you can. So, anyway, the whole point of this, to bring this story together, is the night that I prayed to God that I wanted to give everything up and that I would do anything. But then I, made a correction. I don't even think you can do that, but I made a correction on my prayer. And I said, literally, my eyes shot open because I was thinking about what I prayed about. I was like, wait a minute, I can't do jail. That's the only thing. And somehow that night, the same night I prayed, I got arrested for having a warrant. And Matt had 3 warrants. He got let go on every single one. I missed court, and I had to go to jail for only 1. I ended up going to Burlington. They ended up that year, they stopped accepting females. So they had to transport me to the only jail in New Jersey that had a methadone clinic to help recovering addicts. And it was all the way in Atlantic City. I thought I was going to go to Salem County, Camden County, somewhere a lot closer. But they drove to Atlantic County because it was a privately owned jail and they had room to take the women. So I ended up on the methadone program. The nurse at the jail told me if I show up at John Brooks Recovery Center the day after I got released, and I told her I had no insurance, she told me if I showed up and showed her the willpower to stay clean, that she would get me in the program. So what do you think I did? I begged Rob, because I didn't have my car at the time, and for a good 7 to 10 days, he drove me every single morning to that clinic. I signed up for IOP. I completed the women's program over there. I graduated in April of 2018. I have been clean ever since then. And let me go to the next clip because this is gonna... No, I think it'll be all right. It might not die. I have been clean since April 2018. And there were so many coincidences that happened that make me think wow, not only did God hear me, he helped me again. He helped me again. Because me being pregnant, I've only been pregnant one other time in my life. I actually thought maybe I can't even get pregnant because we keep having sex and nothing happens. And then I get to the jail and I find out I am, So the only way that I got offered the methadone program that fast was because I was pregnant. So everything that had happened all happened in the perfect timing that it ever could have. And I owe God to this day for my sobriety because I am still clean to this day as of April 2021. And it's crazy how 4 freaking hours after I said that prayer, I get with the flashlights all in there. Matt, like I said, has 3. I have 1, and all I did was miss court, and Evesham still wanted to lock me up. I spent hell in there, and I had 2 different bunkies that would come in with me, or cellmates, because one got left, and then I had another one that came in during my 5-day stay. And you know how embarrassing it is when you're withdrawing, throwing up, and shitting at the same damn time, and you got someone watching you? I went through hell for 5 days. But it was like, it was the fight of my life. It was either I fight for my life and I never look back, or I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die using fentanyl. So my prayer was answered. I never had heroin in my car ever again, and I never will. I have had that struggle. You know, I lost Matthew. He was clean with me for 2 years, and then this past September he decided to use again, and I'll never know why. But I know at least he's at peace and he's not suffering anymore from, you know, those evil thoughts that control your mind about the drug. But this was my story about my first time in jail and how I think God intervened in everything. I should have gotten ROR'd twice. The first time when the cop fought for me, second time when the jail denied me. The cop still took me to the hospital, brought me all the way back. Then somehow I end up being pregnant, put on the methadone program, and as I got transferred to the only jail in New Jersey that first offered methadone and rehabilitation in the jail. And because of them, and I told her I had no insurance, she told me if I had the willpower to go, she would let me slide with no insurance. And because of all those sequences in a row, I am now the person that I am today. I love my son more than anything. I'm a loving mother. I love my kid, and I would do anything for him, and he's the light of my life. And if I didn't have him, I don't know how I would have handled Matt's loss. You know what I mean? I don't know if I would have been as strong as I was, because that killed me. You know, we beat that addiction, but that's for a whole nother story time where I will explain that in further detail. But any addict struggling, you know, please lean on that higher power. Give it up to God. Give it up to whatever your higher power may be. I just choose to say God, because that's what my higher power is. And just like some of my other random stories, if you haven't watched my video on the murder one, the random murder that happened, and the craziest story that ever happened that had a murder that was personal to me, it's one of my videos. I'll link it in my description box. But yeah, that was my story and my journey and my success story and how I'm still clean to this day. So thank you guys for listening and taking the time out of your day. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you like makeup and content like this about grief or substance abuse, or really I can get into anything. Saturdays I do Say What Saturdays with another hot topic. That gets a little controversial at times, but if you're into that and you know, that fits your niche, then subscribe to my channel if you would like to. Other than that, I will see you guys later, and thank you for listening. I love you all. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.